Hi guys, this is Chris with CodeChris.com. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe down below. Whatever. The point is, so if you have been following this particular set of series, mini episodes or whatever, then you know that I just recently got a new job. And I think I should go ahead and touch base on that, some of the things that I'm kind of learning, tweaking, and just kind of how things are going. And so real quick, let me touch base on that. And here is what is up. It's awesome. At this place, it's much larger, so I'm not wearing as many hats as before. And so it's very common that in large companies you have a specialty skill, right? For example, at Pixar, you are a character animator or you are a 3D modeler. Now, you might be familiar with both, but most likely you're going to be doing predominantly one, but it's important for you to know the other aspects of it. Same thing with front-end and back-end development. At this place, I am a front-end developer. I have to be familiar with all the different parts that go into it, but my main job, my main focus is going to be front-end development, which is awesome because, let me tell you, working for this company and the people I'm working with, they are opening my mind and tweaking it to things and a standard that I did not know about or really think that hard about before. So at my previous job, we weren't thinking about things as much like screen readers or how this is going to be interacting with other tab throughs and that kind of stuff, right? And some of it just depends on the specifics of how things were built and the processes we chose to do. The processes over here and the standards that we're meeting and just the overall thinking approach of how we do things is different. And it's really, really good. I kind of think of it like a whole nother level, which is great. Now, what does this also mean for me? Well, it's great because I've very recently been getting really, really super excited and interested in what I think the future of the web is really going to entail. And the future of the web, I think, is really going to entail much more of where I come from in my background, which is animation. More interactive designs and more, creativity and uniqueness, which is great for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is that you actually get to start harnessing the power of the net, and you can really let your creativity really start to shine through, really start to come out. And so this is where the line of what I was talking about before in another video where I was asking if web development was dying, it's being modified. And really the line between designer and developer are starting to merge more so. And at this moment, they're not there yet. I mean, in some parts they are, but as a whole, when you experience the internet as it is right now, I think you're going to start seeing a shift. And it's great that I'm learning what I'm learning with the approach that we're going with, because it's making me start to think about those things. Little stuff, too, is really starting to make a difference. When you start to think things like screen readers, you build better practices. You build things smarter. You build things a little bit cleaner. And so what I'm about to show you is not pretty. It's nothing by any means fancy. But what it is, it's just stuff to start thinking in your head about different approaches, the pros and cons, the different things. And so one of the things that really stood out to me that we've been talking about at work, and the gentleman who's in charge of the front-end development team, he he is really, really smart and really, really knowledgeable and just brings things all the way back to the basics, right? And I definitely agree that there have been some points where the world, the community has kind of forgotten some things, some of the basics, and we kind of like leave that to the wayside, right? It's kind of like learning jQuery before learning JavaScript. You can kind of forget some aspects of JavaScript because jQuery is taking over it for you. And there are some better practices, some faster speeds that can just be done in plain vanilla JavaScript over jQuery. So let's go ahead and one thing that I think would open up a lot of eyes, and open up my eyes at least, is that, at least for me, I feel that before and afters are highly underused. And I didn't really quite think about or utilize this to the manner I think I should have. And I'm not just talking about for some of the more obvious things. I'm actually talking about things like icons. Yeah, icons. So I didn't really think about this, but apparently when you think about it, when you need to get a search icon, right? That search icon is if you're grabbing from like Font Awesome, you're grabbing a that one character, right? And that character, in order to get it, you're going to have to download an entire library, however you do that, right? And so you're getting this entire library with all these other things that you don't need. That's a request, right? Well, you're like, yeah, but dude, like that request is so tiny, does it make a difference? Well, you kind of forget that not everywhere in the world, not everywhere in the US, or even people when you're, especially things going mobile, right? With things going mobile, you know, those requests really start to add up. It's not even so much the file size as much as it is just the fact that you're making a request sometimes. And so even that can start to become an hindrance when you do all these little requests. Now, of course, that seems like common knowledge. But what if I told you something as simple as, little icons like that? You don't need to make a request. You can just make your own. And you can do it all with CSS without having to do all the stuff like make that extra request, pull down that whole other thing, and do all this other stuff. And, you're talking about speed performances that are huge. And it's a lot of little things that I'm learning like this, those little things that really start to add up. And I think that's going to be a huge thing, especially moving forward, because they are big with SVGs, which I'm not as familiar with, but I want to be, because the future of animation, the future of web design, web practices, logos, all that stuff, that standard is going to be within SVG. So you're going to be using SVGs for a ton of stuff. Sorry, one of the children is awake. Okay. So what does this look like? Well, let me just show you, right? Just to blow your mind. Da-da. That's my talk that I'll be giving soon. Okay, cool. So right here, these are all just CSS. This Facebook icon right here is all done via CSS, right? So if we were to do, let's see, we'll make this, that's red, and we'll make this, let's also make this red, and we'll also make, blah, 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 red. It's fine. Oh, wait, I'm doing it backwards. Alright, well, whatever. Where's the blue? Where's the blue? Where's Facebook? I don't even see it. Facebook. The icon, Facebook, yada. Orange, yeah, okay, whatever. He gets the point across. You'll get the point. And then I don't even see a blue. I know it's in there. It's gonna be before, after. So there's after, there's before. Oh, good. All right, here we go. Great, cool. All right. So this icon is 100% CSS, and it's just using before and after, right? This little moon thing right here, before and after. And by the way, I'm not going to take credit for building those things. Actually, I found them online, and I was just kind of using it as reference so that I could build my own little lightning bolt. That's right. I built a lightning bolt, nothing fancy. But the point is that you can start to see how you can make things using shapes, using the border radiuses and all that stuff, and absolutely positioning them. Because the reality is that every piece of CSS before and after, if you do a content empty, you're going to get, if you do a border of top, left, bottom, or right, or whatever, you can get a triangle. And really what you think about it is this is a triangle, this is a triangle, and this is a triangle, right? I realized that, there we go. And, I realized for some reason my screen isn't showing the whole thing, but I'm not going to reshoot this video again. Okay. So anyways, but yeah, you can see how, you can go ahead and just do the simple stuff like that. You can build just even a down arrow, whatever the case is, but you take the arrows, you take the triangles, everything is a triangle, everything is a square, and you can do so much with that. So you can even build the search icon. You can take the search icon and you can take that, you can make it, right? What is it other than a solid line and a circle, right? And you just put the two together, absolutely position them, and boom, you're done, right? That's what you can do. And so this is just, this is for some of you, you might be like, oh, dude, I already knew that. Well, yeah, you knew it, but were you using it? Were you applying it, right? And not only that, but were you using it to this degree, right? Because then we got, boom, right here, something as crazy looking as that, or even like this. Like, you don't tend to think of CSS with like curves and crescents like that. So anyways, that's just the pinnacle of it, right? And all of this only has one div, one div, one div, one div, right? All of these only have one div, and you're making this shape with that one div, and it's all CSS, so boom, right? No requests, no need to build anything, get an icon, whatever. Now, by all means, you don't have to do this for everything, but it's just an example of one of the things that, in my mind, is starting to change my approach and how I think about things. Because here's the cool thing, too, right? You've got these shapes. Well, now you've got these shapes. What could you do with that? Well, now you can start to use things like CSS animation, right? Or you can even just do the transitions, right? If a class gets added, you've likely already seen things like this, where you've probably noticed that some people are taking like the hamburger stack, and then when they click it, instead of just changing, right, a cooler effect is to take those pieces and rotate them so they create a cross for the close, and then it shrinks in or it dissolves or whatever. Those little things make the web experience so much better, right? And these CSS transitions are, they're just a starting point. There's nothing big, crazy, but it's those little things that start to make a big difference. And then you take it a step further, and now you start to introduce animation, right? Now we're talking with SVGs, and you can start to change shapes. You can start to make lines appear. Then you take a step further. Now I'm talking about things like Snap.js, where you can start to animate these vectors. You can start to animate these SVG images, right? Then take a step further. Then you talk about 3.js. We're talking about 3D animation inside of here, right? And we already have things like WebGL and the Canvas and stuff, but are we utilizing them? Are we using them to their full potential? In most cases, the answer is no. And the reason for that is a wide array of reasons, but the biggest one, I think, is because we really aren't thinking like that yet. But it's going to start changing. And what I'm very happy about is that I'm going to be on that front end side that's going to be watching and leading and things in that direction, really changing that user interface experience, right? And it's something that I really enjoy talking about and want to get more into, and I'm very happy that at my new job what I'm going to be doing is, really honing those front-end skills. And it's not like, oh, I'm learning how to, get better at front-end development. No, I'm learning to build smarter, to build better, to build faster, more effectively, more flexible. And this is something that you can get experience with, wherever the job is. But I think because of the requirements of the clients that we have are much larger, there is a certain standard that needs to be met. And for us, that's going to be very, very important for our team learning. But I guess for me, because I'm the new guy, right? So anyways, but I thought I would go ahead and throw that in there, just kind of something to think about, to go ahead and explore. My CodePen is by all means nothing. Actually, I'll go ahead and save. I'll go ahead and eventually I'll have some cool stuff inside my CodePen. Right now they're all pretty lame. Nothing crazy, because what I was doing is just exploring stuff, right? But even stuff like this, right? So here's an experiment where I was choosing between loading images as a background image versus an actual image, and how they load and how things are different like that. And it's really, really fascinating because, this changes the thinking of how things are built, how things are made, and all that jazz, right? So anyways, you get the idea. This is these are just kind of experiments that he was teaching me just some things to think about and learn. So the point is that the new job is going great. Brain's thinking a little bit differently. I haven't done any tutorials or anything like that at this point in time, but it's because, you know, everybody's touched on HTML, everybody's touched on JavaScript, everybody's touched on front end, back end, Node, you name it. And so what I want to do is take it in a different direction. And, you know, whenever I got the time, we'll see when that is. But whenever I eventually get that time, I will be making something. It's just not going to be as straightforward as a lot of the other stuff that's currently out there. It's going to be a little bit more abstract, a little bit more artistically driven, and a little bit more just about just some more thinking outside the box stuff. So, anyways, we'll talk animation. We'll talk more later. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if you know anybody who might find this interesting, or the channel, whatever the case is. That's it. Have a nice day.